So starting off today, I will be comparing Menulog and Uber Eats for my food delivery systems. Jumping right along to the first user journey of selecting a restaurant, two highlights that stuck out to me was 1. You can find the restaurants only if you enter your address, and 2. You must select from the cuisine categories in order to find a restaurant as there is no search bar. The second user journey is selecting a series of items, and my two highlights were 1. The menu is categorized into sections to make it easier for the user to find different meals. And 2, your final order is displayed with an additional series of items that complement your meal, which is quite nice for the user. Our first user is a 52-year-old male. You can have a quick read about him and my observations of him using the apps, but we're going to jump right down to the frustrations. For Menulog, there was no search bar as he was looking for a specific restaurant, and that added unnecessary time to find what he was looking for. And for Uber Eats, the items were all presented at once and the categories were not very clear, and this seemed unorganized and slightly overwhelming. Our second user is a 73-year-old female, and again, jumping down to our frustrations for Menulog, she was not satisfied with the lack of ability to filter the restaurant options, and this resulted in the closing of the apps as she was not able to achieve her task. Jumping over to Uber Eats, there was no filter by price option on the popular near you screen. Our first persona here is Matteo. He is an 85-year-old Italian man, and his goals are to reorder his favorite food, find affordable dining, and receive quick and efficient service. His frustrations are food taking an extensive time to deliver and wasting money on food. His pros for Menulog was the For You tab that allows him to revisit his previously favorite orders, and the clock icon that gives an idea of estimated time of delivery. His cons were there was no button that allowed for orders to be filtered by price, and there is also no search bar on the app itself. His pros for Uber Eats, again, he can find his past orders. He can also select price range that allows for a filtered search based on price, and there is a clearly visible search bar that allows him to explore specific restaurants. His cons were there was no option to filter the search on the popular near you screen. Our second persona is John. He's a 32-year-old male, very dedicated to his work. His goals are to receive his food perfectly on time for his meeting, find delicious and healthy food, and to discover new cuisines. His frustrations are delivery taking longer than he was told, unable to review customer reviews, and unable to find new ideas while ordering. His pros for Menulog were a range of options displayed on the home screen to explore, customer reviews being able to be easily accessed, and his cons were no live map on the driver's location and more difficult to discover new cuisines as the app likes to push previously ordered food. His pros for Uber Eats was there was a live map for him to see where the driver is, customer reviews are easily accessed, and there is a filtered search that allows him to find his healthy food. His cons were, again, it is harder to discover new ideas for dining because the app likes to push similar or the same food you've already ordered. For the heuristic design, I chose aesthetic and minimalist design. My observations are on the left, but we're going to jump over to the affordances and constraints. The affordances were a large picture of forwards tapping and the orange food icon of forwards tapping. The constraints were an excessive use of large pictures and harsh overlapped pictures and labels. Over to Uber Eats, the affordances were the picture and icons of forward tapping and labels of forward tapping. The constraints were a variety of coloured pictures take over the screen, and there is a lack of consistent colours. The second one was the visibility of system status. On Menulog, the affordances were the green highlighted and bold after selecting. The constraints were there was no gap between the scrolling options and the ingredients, and you might accidentally tap an unwanted ingredient. Over to Uber Eats, the filtered by search price, the affordance was the circle button highlighted black to indicate selection, and the constraints were no specific pricing may cause confusion as the idea of expensive food is subjective. Similarly for both delivery apps, I believe the user has a good mental model of the system once their cuisine and restaurant is chosen, as before this stage the screen is cluttered and overwhelming. This is due to the amount of colours and pictures on the screen at any time while scrolling, and once the restaurant is chosen, the app design is simplified as shown below. Design issue 1 on Menulog is an overload of shapes on the home screen, and design issue 2 on Uber Eats is there is often an additional menu that requires an automatic drop-down menu and they have to scroll through all of the ingredients. And there are my references.